What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Tej pack. Tej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun. And a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Tej Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tej Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Tej Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Tej Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Tej pack. Feel the Tej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. It is Tuesday, September 26, 2023, year of our Lord. And we are in a great space. We in a good mood. And I think that we're going to have a phenomenal show. We're going to bring some people to the front of the congregation, specifically Las Vegas, Chicago, U.S. workers, thugs in Atlanta. We're going to talk about factories. The only thing that we care about is continuing to bring it back to the money and have a conversation on what's best for you. What is best for you? And right now, you know what's best for you? Making sure that you tuned into the Millionaire Morning Show and that you're sharing this with your friends and family. Making sure that you got that Tej Henley 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Making sure that you tap into the Patreon, in which I dropped a video yesterday. The full-length video yesterday inside of the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Is it pinned to the top of the chat? Let me make sure that that link is pinned to the top of the chat. We got to make sure that we add value into people. It is not pinned to the top of the chat. So let's go ahead and fix that, ladies and gentlemen. We got to make sure that we're doing a thing that's in the best interest of the people. Boom. There we go. All right, so the link to the Patreon is pinned to the top of the chat. And if you want to meet up with me in November, I travel to every single city. I've decided that when I go on tour, because we're planning an upcoming tour, that we're going to have the Patreon members get in for free. Bag chasers get in for free. Also, we got the Invest in You series that is coming in November. I did it before. If you want to see the previous videos of different people's pitches in which I funded their businesses, I've been doing it for over 2 years now. Then you can see that inside of the Patreon. But basically, I'm allocating a bunch of resources in order to send you guys grant money in order to get your businesses off the ground and started, which I take no equity in or anything like that. That's just for you to be able to do your things and execute on the things that we talk about on a regular basis, not only on this show, but inside of the Patreon. And then I'm going to release a new video because we just dropped off the porta potties to the new buildings that we building. And so much going on. But if you're not a part of the Bag Chasers, then you are missing out significantly. And then make sure you tap into the Discord, which is linked to any of the most recent videos inside of the Patreon, and that link is in the description also. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get it started, get it popping. But before we do, and before I start to read the super chats, because we got a full show today, let me get a mental health check. Let me know how y'all feeling inside of the chat. Shout out to John Ellison and everybody that contributed into the platform. I appreciate you. Let me get a mental health check. All right, because we had the live stream last night, and you see I'm up, vibrant, in a good space, good mood. It was a great show. Shout out to Q, Cooked Up, Logic, Quentin, Jasmine, everybody that was on the panel last night. Shout out to all of the ladies. Shout out to Queen Dolce. Shout out to y'all. All good sports. Let me get a mental health check. What are y'all feeling inside of the chat? Blessed, promising, blessed. I like that. Too much blessings. Never too much blessings. Tired. You tired? Listen, we just getting started, baby. A little sleepy. Wake up. Busy. Blessed every day. Focused. Hopeful. Determined. Always wonderful and can't complain. Relieved. Pensive. Pensive. Interesting. Grateful. Pregnant. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on one second. Did somebody say pregnant? Somebody say pregnant? I don't know. Hustling. I like that. Stronger. Never finished. Hustling. Tired. Good. Busy. Angry. NYC. Stuck. Feeling cool. Positive. Peaceful. Terrific. Alhamdulillah. Peace and Pan-Africanism. Disappointed. Heard. Peaceful. Good. Focused. Busy. On purpose. Relieved. Feeling exhausted. Need help. Hopefully we can give you that insight that you need. Guns and Music said, Anton, have you heard about the fat dude in Jersey ripping people off? He was using DJ Envy as a voice for recruiting, lawsuits galore. I have heard about it, but you know what? That's just not up my alley. I don't really get involved in all of that. You know what I'm saying? That's not my thing. I think it's people on YouTube that do that type of thing. They got that kind of content. You know what's so funny? I was talking to Angry Man yesterday, right? I was having a conversation with Angry Man and my guy, and we was kicking it yesterday, and he said, Anton, somebody hit me up with all of this information about what was going on with the mayor over there in Dawson in Illinois or whatever. Then he said, that's not really my thing. He's like, is you interested in it? And I was like, nah, that's not really my thing. Like, I like laughing at the idea that black people or this black woman went over there and she was running it over like she was Nino Brown, like she was in New Jack City or whatever, right? And I think that there is a level of transparency that we need to hold our politicians for and stuff like that. But I don't really get involved in counting other people's money like that. That's just not my thing. I don't know. Not my thing in particular. I think that when you serve in a public interest and politicians, it's a little different, you know what I'm saying? Because they're using taxpayer money. But I think that people on an individual basis need to go ahead and address whatever issues that they got. That's why they got the court of law. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not into that. That's not my thing. I'm not really moving with that. I've never invested any money with Caesar or DJ Envy. So I just really don't care. Like, you know what? Honestly, I like laughing. I like it being lighthearted. I like entertainment. But more importantly, how does that help me? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that help my audience? I just got a different wave and a different vibe. And I like, if it's not lighthearted enough for me to laugh at or to hold people accountable as far as how it is that they're supposed to be moving, as far as committing violence and things like that, I'm not on it. I'm not on that. I think that it's bigger fish to fry. I think that as politicians, we need to be paying attention to. I think that we pay attention to the small fish and then we let the big fish go. You got politicians, you got people moving big money, millions and billions of dollars behind the scenes. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with this migrant crisis. You know what I'm saying? I want to know where all of the money is going in Chicago. I want to know where the whole cities is. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with Ukraine. Where's all of the money that's happening all across the United States of America? Listen, I know that the small seeds is cool and all of that, but I'm trying to understand where the big money is going. You know what I'm saying? Where's my tax dollars going? If it don't pertain to me, I really don't care. Otherwise, I'm trying to understand how it is that I can get a bigger bag, and I'm trying to make sure that I have a good time doing it. So, that's just not my thing. Just to answer your question, let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to go ahead and get started with the show. Shout out to Randy in the building. I appreciate you, Randy, continuing to run it up and be my girl, and that's here and cooking up. Thank you, Randy. You are much, much appreciated. David Williams is in the building. David says, Anton, there's a quote that goes, a rising tide raises all ships. You are that rising tide helping the bag chasers. Salute for being consistent. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you, and I appreciate all of the people that's a part of the bag chasers. Hopefully, I'm adding just as much value into your lives as you guys are adding into my life. Elliot Jackson is in the building. Elliot says, tardy on a Tuesday, shaking my head, haha, but question. Should I move into a nicer apartment house because my income is 6 figures, or stick with my $600 rent? You really want to know my answer? You're not going to want to know my answer. My answer is this. I think you should stick with the $600 rent. Never raise your lifestyle up to meet your income. Here's the question. What value does it add into your life? Can you write it off? How much more are you going to have to work and pay taxes to the federal government in order to substantiate your lifestyle, right? It's so many other questions that come along with it. If you're comfortable, stay down. Now, here's the question. Once you got your income up, what you gonna do with the additional money? Are you willing to give it to somebody else in order to live a perceived better lifestyle? Or are you going to start investing in assets that would then pay for your lifestyle? Stay down, man. Keep your budget the same. Expand the amount of money that you're spending on paying off debt. Expand the amount of money that you're spending on investing in yourself. Start to spend money on leveling up when it comes to your skill set so that you can then make even more money, and then invest in assets that ultimately pay out long term. Listen, you could become a millionaire. If you got $600 in rent, that don't necessarily mean that you need to increase your lifestyle. It means you need to start increasing your assets. Throw every dime that you have into the thing that is going to generate more revenue, and you want to live great forever. You don't want to then meet a next person's expectation so that you can be a perceived baller. You want to be a real baller in real life. One of the biggest criticisms that I get is that I don't live in this big old mansion, or I don't have all of these expenses. I'm not paying these crazy property taxes just because of what my income may be perceived to be to people on the internet. I don't have to prove myself to anybody. I am very, very comfortable waking up, overlooking the lakes, right? My people is straight. My daughter is straight. She in a great school. Her college is paid for. My assets is continue to blow up. We going to continue to pour money into the things that add value into our life, not do things for people that don't even care about you. Anybody that would go against you or talk negatively about you never had your best interest at heart in the first place. So why would you then buy something in order to satisfy them? They're never going to be happy with you anyway. Once you start getting comfortable in your own skin, once you start focusing on the things that's best for you, then you start to expand and you start to grow and you start to blow up and you start to get all of the assets and you start to become successful. Stop living your life based off of what you think society expects from you. Listen, if you can get free rent, why would you pay $600 in rent? Don't you know the number one rule for rich people is try to figure out how it is that we can minimize the amount of money that we're giving away for free, especially when it comes to taxes? So what do? We invest in ourselves. We buy things that we A, can rent off, and then B, add more value into our life long term. If it's not adding value into your life, then forego it. Forego it. Invest in yourself. Invest in assets. If you can live for free, do it. If you can live for free, I don't care what you're worth. If you can minimize your personal expenses, not your business expenses, that then add more value into your life. If you can minimize your personal expenses, every single person here, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go over your budget with a fine-tooth comb. Go over your budget with a fine-tooth comb and figure out where you can cut out anything that does not add value into your life that you cannot write off from a business perspective. If you're not a part of the Patreon, if you have not never had these conversations, if you're not a part of the Discord, the link to join the Patreon is in the description. We got a whole tribe, thousands and thousands of people that have this conversation on a regular basis. We do live streams. Matter of fact, I might do a live stream this weekend. I don't know. It depends on if I got to do an interview this weekend. But my point is this. Go through your budget with a fine-tooth comb. Forget the cars. Forget the clothes. Forget everything. Go through your budget with a fine-tooth comb and figure out where the holes are. If you're overspending on living then figure out how you can minimize that. Maybe you need to get a roommate. Maybe you need to go ahead and forego that and figure out when your lease is up, how you can move back into the house with your friends or your parents. Or maybe you need to not leave your relationship and stay home so that you can minimize the expenses that's going to come along with whatever it is that you have to go and live this free life. You buying a place so somebody can come in and bust you down. That's all you're doing. If you can minimize your expenses, if you live in a city where you can live, work, and play all in the same area, why do you need a car? Why do you want to pay the maintenance? Why do you want to pay the car insurance? Why do you want to pay the gas? Why do you want to pay storage fees? Why do you want to pay parking fees? Why do you want to pay the interest rates on car notes and cars on a depreciating asset? If you cannot justify it from a business perspective, then walk away from it. Let me say it again for the people in the back. If you cannot justify it from a business expense, and let me put up the question again. The question was, tardy on a Tuesday, shaking my head, haha, but question, should I move into a nicer apartment/house because my income is 6 figures, or stick with my $600 rent? Let me tell you something. You know why? We put phrases on things? For the longest, how long has 6 figures been the mythical number that we need to hit in order for us to really be getting it and balling? How many times have we seen people on street interviews say stuff like, I want a man with 6 figures? How many times do we need to validate ourselves by thinking that we hit a number that then justifies the fact that we can go out and spend money recklessly and not continue to pour into our assets? It's a marketing term determined to keep you a consumer and to keep you broke by spending your way to success on things that do not add value into your life. It's the whole idea why you say I need to check somebody's credit score. It's the whole idea behind why you say, I want somebody with a good credit score. Why do you want somebody with a good credit score? What does that do for you? Does it change your living arrangement? Are you looking to upgrade? You can buy a better car. Go get you a BMW. Joneses. You living for the Joneses. You trying to impress people instead of being able to justify it from a business expense. I was talking to Fi Brown yesterday. Shout out to Fi Brown. I see you in the chat, big dog. I was talking to Fi Brown yesterday, and we was going over on a coaching call, right? We going through, and he's like, Anton, this thing that you gave me, I'm not going to tell y'all what I gave him. He said, this thing that you gave me on our last coaching call, and he can tell you in the chat, he said, this thing you gave me in my last coaching call was a game changer. Every single time you talk to me, it seemed like my net worth go up, and then my ability to be able to look at everything from a business perspective changes dramatically, right? And so we had to naturally take the next step. Because I said, okay, so now that we got this, and this done, one of the things that I gave him is the ability to be able to go through and look at all of his business expenses and his regular expenses with a fine-tooth comb, with a certain software that I use, and the bag chasers know what I use, but a certain software that I use in order to go through and look at my bookkeeping in order to also look at where it is that I'm projected to be at for the rest of the year. I said, pay attention to that. Projection. Fi Brown, projection. He said, what do you mean projection? I said, listen, once you get past the space where you're now depending on your regular income in order to maintain a lifestyle, when you minimize your expenses and you also got your businesses popping and your bookkeeping is right, and you can then look at your reports, you can start to project out what it is that you're going to make for the rest of the year. He said, well, what does that mean? I said, now you can start to look at it like rich people. Listen, y'all need to pay attention because this is the Millionaire Morning Show, and ain't nobody going to have this conversation with you and add this much value into your life. Bookkeep this. Save it for watch later. Send it to your friends and family. I'm giving you the game. I didn't even know I would be having this conversation until somebody asked this question. He said, projection. He said, break it down for me a little bit more. I said, okay, I'll give you what. I'll tell you what. Now that we got our bookkeeping in order, and now that we understand how we looking at every single thing from a business perspective, now that we understand the amount of time that we're putting into each business so that we can do a cost-benefit analysis, which basically breaks down where you need to spend more time and what business you need to get rid of in order to add much value and increase your assets and your net worth more. Now we can start to look at projections, right? He said, all right, teach me what projections mean. This is what I was talking to. Fi Brown is in the chat right now. He can tell you. Game changer. He said, okay, how do I start to look at things based off of projection? I said, all right, so let's use a blanket statement. Let's say I'm making $1 million a year, or I'm going to generate $1 million a year for this particular business. He said, okay. I said, now how much in taxes am I going to have to pay? We went through the numbers. I said, okay, so that means now based off of the projections that I have, I understand where it is that I need to get rid of the money so that I can minimize the amount of money that I have to get over to the federal government legally. When you jump on an analyst call, and this is one of the reasons why you guys need to understand how money works, you need to understand how business works. When you jump on an analyst call, right? When you look at whatever the profitability of a company is for that particular quarter, it doesn't matter what company it is. It could be Apple, it could be Netflix, it could be Nvidia, it could be Ford Motor Company, it could be Tesla. They're projecting what they're going to make for that particular year, fiscal year, and quarter, and then they're revising the numbers depending on whatever the business circumstances change. But largely, they're able to predict what it is that they're going to make based off of what they're forecasting. The analysts then come back. Come on, I'm going to need y'all to pay attention. The analysts then come back and they compare it to what it is that they think that the company is going to hit, and then whether or not they hit those numbers, exceed those numbers, or they fall significantly short, and then they're trying to understand the factors that come along with it. Was it a recall? Did consumer spending change? Was debt obligations? Did you have subprime loans that then hit your business too much, right? They're projecting, and then that's how they determine whether or not they need to hire. That's how they determine whether or not they need to invest in more other things. That's how they determine whether or not they can put research and development into this particular project. That's how they determine whether or not they can create budgets for different parts of the business. That's how they determine whether or not they want to hire certain people for certain salaries. That's how they determine whether or not they want to invest in their company or their employees, or how much they're going to do stock buybacks for. The projections are the things from a business perspective that then determine whether or not they can do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So here's the question that you need to ask yourself. Once you get past being under duress, and once you get past just having a job, and once you get past using your income in order to maintain a lifestyle, how do you then bookkeep differently? How do you then set up certain businesses? And then how do you minimize the amount of money that you have to give over to the federal government or to things that do not add value into your life? You do it the same way that you do it from a company perspective. Projections. I'm able to look at whatever business that I have and even my income that I may have from my job. And I'm able to say, okay, we're projected based off of historical evidence, growth, and then also where it is that we're going in order to make X amount of dollars from this business, this business, this business, and this business. So, okay. How do we then create the budgets to minimize the amount of money that we have to pay in taxes, increase our net worth by investing in things that then add more value into the business and add more value into our assets? And then also on top of that, making sure that we're very, very diligent and paying attention to anything that we may or may not buy that we would have to pay taxes on because it's not a business expense. Anything that we have to then trade in our time for money in order to pay taxes on it because we can't write it off from a business perspective. The only way that you can do that is by being able to see into the future and project what you're going to potentially make, and then align your business principles, your lifestyle, and everything that you have going on from there based off of what it is that you're projecting to do. How do you know, even if you're a business owner, let's say that you over there and you killing it from a business perspective, right? How do you know how much you're going to have to pay in taxes next year? How do you know how much you're going to generate? How much you know in payroll? How much you need for marketing? Are you going to buy some new cameras? Do you need to go out and vlog? How much are you going to pay people in order to come in and then do the work that you're supposed to do? What do you need to do for content creation, right? Every single thing that you do should be based off of a budget, because it's not just budgeting. Budgeting is just the first step on a personal level. Once you understand what your budget is, then you're able to project, and you need to use this in your personal life and in your business life. There's always another step. There's always more growth. There's always more things that you need to do that then increase the value of your time, the value of your assets, and then ultimately your net worth. But if you cannot do this successfully by first wrangling in your personal expenses that then substantiate your lifestyle, then you are going to be in a very, very, very difficult situation in which you're giving more money over to things, and you're spending more money on people, and you're spending more money that you have to that's not necessarily adding value into your life. Is this too much for y'all? Is this too much for y'all? Are we going a little bit too deep? Or do we need to go back into Basic level conversation. Because these are the type of conversations that we have in the Bag Chasers and on the Patreon. When we go to the meetups, I'm going to see y'all on November 4th in DC. These are the type of conversations that we have. These are the type of fireside chats that I want to have with y'all. I want to show y'all what it means to be successfully married, how to be in good business relationships, how to network effectively, how do you project out in order to be more successful, what is the business fundamentals that you need before we start to get into business principles in order to make sure that you're successful. What software are you using in order to project out how it is that you're supposed to be budgeting from a family perspective? And what businesses do you have that also substantiate your lifestyle? When you go over into another place, you planning a family vacation. It's a little bit different from me. My girl worked for me. I need her in order to go and take care of business in another state. Meaning that when I book business trips, and I book my flight and her flight, and then we got to go and stay in a hotel or Airbnb, and then we got to go and get a rental car, and we got to go and take care of business over there. You going there over there to party. We're going over there to take care of business. We then may have a little bit of fun while we out there, but the expenses is a little bit different because I can justify it from a business perspective because we out there to take care of business. And we can project that and bake that into our business budget in order to make sure that we prevent ourselves from giving additional money legally over into the federal government that we cannot justify. The first thing you have to do on a very basic fundamental level, stop skipping steps. The very first thing that you have to do on a fundamental level is make sure that you minimize your personal expenses instead of trying to use your income to justify a lifestyle for people that don't care anything about you. Stop worrying about what everybody else think. If you can live for free, if you can live for $600, if you can live for $700, stay down. Stay down. It ain't no pride in giving money over into people that don't care nothing about you. To prove it for who? For what? So you can create an Instagram picture and then they gonna talk about you anyway and they still ain't gonna care nothing about you? Stay down. Stay focused. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. That was a phenomenal question, Elliot. Phenomenal question, Elliot. Let's continue. Let me read a couple more super chats, and then we're going to really get into the show. John Ellison says, what up, Anton, your fellow Detroiter here? What up, though? What up, though? You got no love for the Lions? I've been rocking out with the Lions for a long time. Listen, I'm not a football fan like that, but I'm always going to root for the home team. Shout out to the Lions for monkey stomping on the Falcons over this past weekend. But I'm a Pistons fan. I know you rock with the Pistons heavy. Let me know if you want to hit a Lions game. I got those those season tickets. Shout out to my Bag Chasers. Shout out to you. That's what's up. That's what's up. John Ellison, I appreciate you. Hit me up in an email. Elliot Jackson says, I don't care, but everyone around me is concerned or hating. Then you need to get a new tribe. You need to divest yourself. Why you keep telling everybody your dreams? Why you keep telling everybody what you're making? Why y'all keep being so concerned with showing everybody else how successful you're becoming? Listen, everybody is not meant to be with you forever. Everybody may have a season in your life, but you may have another season coming. When I was in high school, I had certain friends in high school. Some people still rocking with me. Most of them not. They're a season in your life. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're supposed to be with them forever. Stop telling everybody your business and stop trying to make everybody happy for your success. They not. Find you some people that's going in the direction that you're going in. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And rock out with them. Stop worrying about what everybody else thinks. Forget them. It ain't for them. It's for you. P. Shank says, Anton sending positive vibes and good morning. Thank you, P. Shank. Also, got my dog, P. Shank. He hit me off. Okay, I appreciate it. Appreciate you. My dog, Marcus Hill, in the building says, good morning, Anton and fellow Bag Chasers. Question for you. Can we bring our spouse to the meetup? You absolutely can. You absolutely can bring a plus one. You absolutely can bring a plus one. Also, it's my birthday. Shut up. So I'm expecting nothing short of a phenomenal show, and you got it. You already getting the heat. You already getting the heat. Martin Meck says that money is being laundered into the pockets of think tanks, grants, and nonprofits, and that's always making a profit. we need to be paying attention to the bigger money and where it's going. You know what I'm saying? Traveling Tony 90 says, what do you think about us passport bros overseas? Go over there, have fun, get great cultural experiences. If you find somebody that rock out with you, then rock out with them. Enjoy your life. I think that people need to see the world and have a great time doing so. I just don't think that you should prioritize box as the reason why you're traveling. The box come with it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Traveling Tony 90. I appreciate you. Fa Brown is in the building. He know what's up. Say, yo, Anton, still recovering from that ass kicking you gave me on a coaching call yesterday. Every time I think I'm doing something, you enlightening me that I'm not reaching my full potential. Thanks for the tough love, big bro. Make sure y'all tap in. Make sure y'all tap in. Glenn says, just had to show some appreciation and pass it forward. Shout out to Glenn. I appreciate you, Glenn. Jean Wick says, Anton, can you recommend a book starting your first business or class on education resources in addition to the Patreon? Let me think about that. I'll put it in the Patreon. I'll put a recommendation inside of the Patreon. Shout out to you, my friend. Pink Dreamer 04 says, keep cooking. Thank you, Pink Dreamer. And then Enos Luby is in the building. Shout out to my Londoners. Enos Luby says, just giving thanks, not a bag chaser anymore. Hit a real low a few months ago, but back on the way up. Side note, you did see that BlackRock and Chase are financing the rebuilding of Ukraine, $400 billion. I didn't see it yet. Send it over to me. Email me and get you back in the bag chasers. Listen, forget the 10 ball on the super chat. Get the bag chasers for 15, and then make sure that you continue to get the value as a result of aligning yourself with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in. God bless you, Enos Luby. Thank you for contributing to the platform. Let's go ahead and get into the show. Love Heals. I got to get you Love Heals before I get into the show. I got to get Love Heals up in here. Love Heals says, Anton, praise be to he. I've been a direct care specialist for over 20 years now, and I've saved over $100,000 just by not paying rent and other expenses. Thanks for the advice. Let me go ahead and bring somebody else to the front of the congregation before we go ahead and get started with the show. Carrie is in late. Hey, everybody, can we please hold Carrie accountable? Carrie says, good morning, everyone. I know I'm late, so I'm sending this while he's reading Super Chat so he won't see this. Everybody, can we please give Carrie a drum roll, please? Carrie, I'm going to need you to be on time. On time. If you got to leave the Hey Q show at night in order to make sure that you here on time in the morning, I'm going to need you to go ahead and get yourself back to the front of the congregation. We're going to get on Carrie until Carrie get her life together. And I may have to make a phone call. I don't know. Shout out to Carrie. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the show. We're going to go ahead and get it popping. Thank you guys for continuing to contribute into the platform. Oh, and let me give a shout out to Mike, that dude over there on Cash App, continuing to hit me off. I appreciate you, Mike. Let's get started with the show. So, God bless us. Lord, help us. Lord, help us. I don't know what to do. I have no idea of what it is that I'm supposed to do when I'm supposed to do it. Because every single time that I believe that we're making progress and we've made sure that we've centralized a specific thing over into one area, I'm always getting disappointed. I thought that we contained this over into Chicago and Oakland. I thought that we contained this over into Chicago and Oakland, but apparently I'm wrong. Let me share with you what somebody shared with me.
Family members tell Fox 5's Joy Dukes they can't even begin to process just what happened.
I fell out because This is not what you want to see.
For Westside resident Kiwi Ashmead, the site of this crime scene on Evans Street Saturday was dramatic.
Supposed to go on a family vacation next week, and now we're not going with my nephew. Instead, we have to bury up my nephew.
She identified her nephew, 20-year-old Jacoby Maddox, as one of the 3 people Atlanta police detectives say were shot and killed when an argument escalated to gunfire just after 1 p.m. Maddox was a father to a 1-year-old boy.
He was a tall, gentle giant, very respectable. Unfortunately, you know.
Hold on. Before we continue over into this, sir, can you please put your breasts up? Sir, he said, I'm going to get my time to shine. I want y'all to look me up to figure out who it is that I got on my shirt. I got my drip. I got my braids multicolored. And I got my cleavage out. Of all of the different things that we could show off on and highlight what it is that we supposed to be talking about, honestly, I seen this clip before I decided to share it with y'all because I didn't know if I wanted to make this a part of the Millionaire Morning Show, but I missed him. I completely missed this guy. I was so focused on what it is that happened in Atlanta between these guys going back and forth and making sure that they wanted to delete each other over the possibility of who got more money that I just completely missed Prince over here. I missed Future Jr. I missed Lenny Kravitz over here. What the heck is going on over here? We talking about somebody and a nephew that's no longer going on vacation and a 1-year-old that don't got a father no more. And we got Prince Jr. standing over here with no shirt on. What's going on out here in these streets? What's happening in Atlanta? Atlanta, what's going on out here? What is happening out here? So now you're on the Millionaire Morning Show. Now you got it. Now we got to remove or rewind what the heck was going on in order to get the whole picture again and better understand what was happening in Atlanta because you wanted to distract me and have your chest out. Let me rewind it and help y'all to understand what's going on.
Members tell Fox 5's Joy Dukes they can't even begin to process just what happened.
Culture trash.
I fell out because this is not what you want to see.
For Westside
Remix. Let's do this again.
resident Kiwi Ashmead, the site of this crime scene on Evans Street Saturday was dramatic.
Supposed to go on a family vacation next week, and now
look. He over there having a whole nother conversation. He was never even supposed to be in the camera. I'm just now paying attention. Sometimes you got to remix it and start all over and try to figure out what the heck is going on. He all the way over there paying attention to something else. The minute that he seen the cameras pull up and start interviewing somebody, he had to come and get his 15 minutes of fame. Come on, y'all. Let's stay focused. This culture trash.
My nephew. Instead, we have to bury up my nephew.
She identified her nephew, 20-year-old Jacoby Maddox, as one of the 3 people Atlanta police detectives say were shot and killed when an argument escalated to gunfire just after 1 p.m. Maddox was a father to a 1-year-old boy.
He was a tall, gentle giant, very respectable. Unfortunately, you know, the streets got a hold of him.
As a longtime resident, this woman, who identified herself as TT but did not want her face shown.
Not TT. Not TT. It was a tall, gentle giant. Wouldn't hurt nobody, but unfortunately the streets got a hold of him. How many times have we heard that story?
Says she's seen just how dangerous the streets can be. She says she was there in the moments leading up to the shooting.
2 guys arguing over who got money and who pistol is the biggest. I say it's very concerning about what's going on now. It's getting very outrageous over here now with the senseless killing, senseless shooting.
Resident Monique Burston echoed those concerns, telling Fox 5 she lost her own daughter to gun violence in 2017.
I feel that it's sad that mothers like me have to bury our children. Our children are not burying us anymore. We're burying them.
West End residents say shootings are an everyday occurrence, and while it seems more and more youth are being named the victims, they're calling on parents and city officials to take more action action to address it.
Wait. When did it become the city officials' responsibility to address you raising your kids to not be walking out here with guns and getting into an argument over who got more money and who got the biggest pistols? Why do we expect for other people to fix what's wrong in our households? What is the city official supposed to do? Y'all gonna blame this on the white man again? Is it the white man's fault? Is it the system's fault? Is it systematic oppression that your homies and you are outside arguing over who got more money and who got a bigger gun, and then it turns into a gunfight? How does that happen? You telling me you live your whole life, your daddy, right? Your mama, your granny, your TT, all of them is putting whatever it is that they trying to save you, taking you to church, and you over here, and it all culminated in your final moments was you going back and forth with a dude arguing over who got, neither one of y'all got no money. Everybody broke. Neither one of them got no money. Probably had 100 with a bunch of ones up under it talking about who got the most money. Yeah. Probably Instagram stunting. Probably got all of your, knowing your rent is due. You know that's your rent money. You know you got to pay your rent. And you sitting there flashing your money, getting into an argument with a dude over who got the most money for what? For what? You in the streets in the daytime, flashing guns, talking about who got the... Thank God for TT. Let me see what TT had to say again. TT told the whole news.
Up to the shooting.
Two guys arguing over who got money and who pistol is the biggest. I say it's very concerning about what's going on there. It's getting very outrageous over here.
Meanwhile, everybody got their pants sagging, wife beaters, orange boxers, no belt. The one with the belt actually got his pants hanging down. And y'all talking about get the city leaders and officials to come over here and do something about it. Do something about what? What you want them to do? What are you looking for? What do you suggest that we do? Let's say that we're city leaders and we're city officials. What do you suggest that we do considering the environment by which we have to subject ourselves to? Whose fault is it? You want me to give them reparations? Huh? You want us to go back to the drawing board and give them reparations? They ain't got nothing to do. Nothing better to do. They all smell like trees. Woke up late, never brushed their teeth, picked up, start playing GTA, maybe played a little bit of 2K, came outside, put their gun in their waistband, put their little knot of ones in there, and then start having a conversation, and then broke out into an argument talking about who got the most money, and then wind up killing 3 people as a result of it. Talk about a day. Talk about a day. Wind up killing 3 people, and somebody got a 1-year-old. Why you think that I don't even go into certain places no more? Why you think that I don't even sit here and have conversations anymore? Why you think that I won't even stop my car and ride into certain spaces anymore? Why you think that profiling is necessary?
Now with the senseless killing, senseless shooting.
Resident Monique Burston echoed those concerns, telling Fox 5 she lost her own daughter to gun violence in 2017.
I feel that it's sad that mothers like me have to bury our children. Our children are not burying us anymore. We're burying them.
West End residents say shootings are an everyday occurrence. And while it seems more and more youth are being named the victims, they're calling on parents and city officials to take more action to address it.
But our city need to get it together. You mayors in the past that have said what y'all was gonna do for our kids, then didn't get done, pay attention.
It's the mayor's fault now. It's the mayor's fault. It's the mayor's fault. Listen to what she said. Let me show you what she said. Listen to what she said.
Our city need to get it together. You mayors in the past that have said what y'all was gonna do for our kids, then.
So it's not your responsibility to be a good parent. It's not your responsibility to make sure that they got a father in their life. Every single person that I've seen had a comment on this particular news article. There is no men in sight. Everybody got kids. Everybody having kids. Everybody is holding the mayors and Umar Johnson and me and black men and the passport bros and every single person that they can find accountable. Is everybody else's fault except for what goes on in your own household. And this is the culture that you celebrate. This is what it is that we need to be having a conversation about. TT won't even get on camera because TT ain't even going to tell on who did what. And TT also sat there and watched them argue over who got more money and who got the bigger guns. Why ain't TT at work? Ain't nobody got no day jobs? You know, the one thing that I noticed about Atlanta, let me tell you about Atlanta. The one thing I noticed about Atlanta is that nobody actually got a job, but everybody is riding around in a Charger or a Hellcat or in a Lamborghini Urus. Nobody got no job. Where the jobs at? Hold on. Let me say that again. One thing I noticed about Atlanta is that everybody be out and about in the daytime. Why is there so much traffic when everybody is supposed to be at work? Where's everybody going? Where are y'all on your way to? Why is everybody arguing at 1 o'clock in the daytime? And A, you either be supposed to be at school, or B, you supposed to be at work. Where's everybody going in the daytime? Why ain't nobody actually got no jobs in Atlanta, but everybody getting money? Who getting money and where's the money coming from? How come there ain't no new industries popping up in Atlanta? What y'all got over there? Delta is hiring. Don't nobody want to actually throw no bags. Ain't nobody trying to be no desk agent. Ain't nobody over there trying to be no stewardess. I know y'all ain't no pilots because I don't see none of you niggas in the air. I'm sorry. I don't see none of y'all in the front of the cockpit. Every single pilot that I see coming through with me on TSA pre-scan, right? Ain't none of them black. I ain't seen a black pilot, and I fly at least 3-4 times a month. I ain't seen a black pilot to save my life. Where is everybody working at in Atlanta? And how come we ain't got no pilots? Where are black pilots? Who know a black pilot? When the last time you had a black pilot? I'm just curious. No, listen. Let's have a real conversation. Because if we could sit here and let these dudes kill each other over who got the most money and the biggest pistols, I'm trying to understand, when the last time y'all been on a flight with a black pilot? Male or female, doesn't matter. I'm not even going to be gender specific. When is the last time? Yo, on my father's grave, I'm flying back from Dallas, and I see a little white girl with a buzz cut coming through the line with her pilot gear on and everything like that. I said, okay, we got white women, fat women, snow bunnies. They're now becoming pilots. When is the last time that I seen somebody fly Delta, Spirit, American Airlines, Southwest? I ain't seen a black pilot to save my life on not one. Listen, I sit first class for the majority of my flights. All right? I ride first class for the majority of my flights. The first thing that to do, the pilots come out and they be standing right there with the people that service you and they say, oh, thank you for riding the flight or whatever, so on and so forth. And then the other pilot be in there in the cockpit and he be getting stuff together and he be bracket adjusting. I ain't seen a black pilot to say, maybe it's just me. I ain't seen a black pilot on a flight in the last 4 years. And I fly all day, every day, sun up to sundown, overseas, domestic, city to city, state to state, short flights, long flights, Spirit, Delta. I have not seen a black pilot in a long time. I'm just going to be honest with you. Y'all keep talking about selling bundles and being rappers. I ain't seen not one person say I want to be a pilot. Tam Renee said I'm on the wrong flight, so what I'm supposed to fly? Soul plane? Where they at? You want me to get Wiz Khalifa and Snoop in the air? What flights am I supposed to be on and where I'm supposed to be see these black pilots? Don't worry about it. We'll get there. Shout out to people in Atlanta for go ahead and doing the thing that's not best in their best interest and then winding up killing each other. Let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to move on. We got a whole show to do today. Not a half a show, a whole show. Trucking Blueprint says, I'm definitely looking forward to meeting up in D.C. Can you ping your email to the chat? Somebody put my email in the chat. Anton Daniels, 413 @gmail.com. Anton Daniels 413 @gmail.com is my email address. Shout out to you, my friend. I appreciate you. Thank you, Trucking Blueprint in the building. My dog Chris is in the building, says over 1,700 views. Oh, we got over 1,900 right now and growing. Over 1,900 viewers and less than 500. That means we need to go to the Teach. Fix it, Jesus. Chris also said, oh, and good morning. And by the way, salute to the Chasers. Shout out to the Chasers. Jamal Fowler is in the building, says just passing through that 2-ball inside of the collection plate. I appreciate you. Justin K in the building says, I got to correct you, bro. Personally, I know 4 black pilots, 2 men and 2 women, all under 35. There's a whole group of them there. I just want to know where they at because I ain't seen them. Where they at, though? What y'all telling me, that Delta don't hire black pilots? I'm sure they out there, but where they flying to? Where they at, though? Where they at, though? Shout out to Justin K. I appreciate you, my dog. Let's go ahead and get over into the core of this conversation. Chicago. Chicago. Listen, I have no clue. No clue whatsoever. What was Brandon Johnson doing before he decided to become mayor? What was his career? Does anybody know? Does anybody know what Brandon Johnson's career was? He had to be a preacher. If I had to guess, I would say that he was at the front of the congregation, Bishop Brandon Johnson or Pastor Brandon Johnson. Mm-hmm. And we got to become mayors. And we got to make sure we have representation in our legislative branches. Because we need to fix our neighborhoods. And if anybody is going to fix it, it's going to be us. Because, come on, we got to come on to the front of the congregation and make sure that we come on and have some representation inside of our legislative branches. I would guess that he had to be, the way that he articulates himself, honest to God, had to be a preacher. Shout out to preacher Brandon Johnson. You might have missed your calling. If you did not, make sure that you got your ordination into the Pentecostal Church of the Baptist Christ on the west side of Chicago. Tell them in Chicago. I'm just telling you, I think that Brandon Johnson had to be a part of the congregation before he became mayor. Somebody tell me, let me know in the chat. Somebody look it up. What did Brandon Johnson do before he became mayor of Chicago? I'm just curious. I'm genuinely. He was a social studies teacher? Wow. So he went from social studies to becoming the mayor of Chicago. Social studies to becoming the mayor of Chicago. He was a teacher and a union leader. Wow, y'all elected a teacher and a union leader to run y'all city. Impressive. Well, the people of Chicago are not so happy right now. The people of Chicago are not so happy right now. Make sure that you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. Shout out to my people on Facebook. Make sure you hit a like. Also, tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let me tell you what's going on over in Chicago today. Now, you got to remember that the overwhelming majority of the clips that I'm using comes from I just have flooded down my timeline. Chicago, crime, issues, money, protests, tons of mace thrown in the air. Anything Chicago just hits my timeline right now. So I am very familiar with what's going on in Chicago. I was one of the first people that found out what was going on with Jussie Smollett. All right? This is what's happened in Chicago over the last 24 hours, all right?
Now to a fiery meeting on the northwest side tonight where violent robberies are way up.
Tonight, residents were invited to a town hall meeting to learn how local leaders are addressing the issue. Natalie Bomke is here with the fireworks.
And tonight we have new video that's only going to add fuel to that fire. An attack happening just this afternoon in Bucktown in an alley at Damon and Armitage. Two crooks jumped a 33-year-old man just walking by and eating pizza. We stopped the video before the victim is sucker punched, then viciously beaten, kicked, and robbed.
In addition to the robberies, in addition to the gang fights, you cannot walk down the street in the daytime at 1 p.m. in any street, especially Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Look at all of those garbage cans perfectly lined up. Walking down the street, eating pizza. They come out and they start to beat the crap out of him, sucker punch him while he's eating pizza, and mollywhopped him in Chicago. We know that it's happening over at the major universities. It's happening downtown. It's happening on every street. It's happening in the daytime and in the nighttime. And they keep telling us that these are just large gatherings. These are the issues. They got a migrant crisis, a budget shortfall, and a crime syndicate that is running rampant in the streets, that's just walking around and beating the crap out of people for no reason.
Fortunately, he was not seriously hurt. And now to tonight's community meeting on violence just like this. And residents have had enough.
Look at all them white people. Look at all them white people. I don't see not one brown skin. You know I love my brown skin. I don't see one brown skin person in that. Listen, you know one thing I know about my snow bunnies, my snow puppies, my snow hares. One thing about them snow bunnies and them snow hares, they gonna put on them reading glasses and they gonna be sitting in that audience and they're gonna come up with a solution as to how it is that we need to protect our communities. And when it starts to spill over into those communities, we're not having it. We're not having it. And I'm gonna be the first one at the forefront of the movement. I'm gonna be in there with the microphone on. Hey guys, we need to get more vigilant. What do we need to do? We need to take more proactive actions. We're going to have lookouts, watchtowers at the top. Anytime you see anybody that's not supposed to be here, if they look suspicious, we're going to profile them and we're going to call the police on them. I'm going to be the first person that's at the forefront of the movement. But I don't see one brown skin. You know I love my... Shout out to NDRE. Shout out to the 90s early music, the R&B music. It was so dope.
The meeting began with shouting from residents. One man was ejected. It took place in Humboldt Park, an area adjacent to the 14th Police District that has reported a huge spike in robberies this year compared to last.
This will be one of many meetings that will. I understand it, and I want to respect how you're feeling. And
We got one with a fade that's controlling what's going on in the meeting in Chicago. That looked like the next mayor. Smooth face, greased on the forehead, looking like the new mayor. Looking like a new mayor out there.
Let's just focus on me. We don't need lots of people talking. All right? Are we okay?
The robberies have gone up quite a bit. I know most people here are because and concerned about these robberies. It's not just a 14th district problem. It's not a 25th district problem. It's citywide.
The residents are not calling the police, so that's a big issue.
Older people Daniel Laspada and Jesse Fuentes, who hosted the meeting, pointed to Mayor Johnson's initiative to engage Chicago youth as a big part of the long-term solution. In the short term, they believe talking about the problem will make people feel safer.
What is this youth initiative? Where is it at? Where's this youth initiative where y'all gonna be walking around making sure that y'all tap into them at the picnics and making sure that they're not robbing anybody? And making sure that they're not... Where is this initiative that's supposed to be taking place over in Chicago when he said that, hey, listen, look, guys, listen, what we're going to do, and we're not going to call them thugs. These are just simply large gatherings. These are large gatherings that are happening across the board, and we need to engage our youth, not criminalize them. Meanwhile, the youth is over there beating the crap out of people that's walking down the street with pizza in their hand at the 1 o'clock in the afternoon when they supposed to be in school. Don't worry about it, Brandon Johnson. You got bigger things that you have to worry about. Let me show you.
Tonight, some more calls for transparency over exactly how much the city of Chicago is spending to care for and to house more than 14,000 migrants.
As aldermen demand more oversight, the city of Chicago has denied a request for more records from NBC5 Investigates. Bennett Haberly joins us now with more on that story. Bennett.
Marion and Stefan, for months we've been asking for more spending receipts like this since we first learned staffers working to care for migrants in the city billed the city of Chicago for anywhere between $135 to $200 an hour.
Hey, where can you go? Where is it that you can live at? What job do you need to acquire to where you can get $200 an hour? Hold on, give me a second. $200 an hour in order to make sure that you're helping and servicing the migrant crisis. At the end of the day, in my personal opinion, if you ever want to solve for a real problem, you need to just understand where the money is going. We're so busy distracted with the small fries that we're not really paying attention to what the heck is going on, to where who's over there making $200 an hour to help migrants. Just curious. I'm just asking a question, because when we start to break down the numbers, we need to understand what the heck is going on and who's going to profit as a result of what's happening as far as these sanctuary cities on an individual level. Because when you start to mine out the individuals, you start moving up the ladder and you start to uncover some very, very ugly things.
Since August of last year, the city of Chicago has paid a Kansas-based company, Favorite Healthcare Staffing, more than $57 million.
Let me rewind this for a second. I want you to get the full context. I don't want you to miss anything.
Last year, the city of Chicago has paid a Kansas-based company, Favorite Healthcare Staffing, more than $57 million.
So y'all not even pouring money and keeping the money within y'all own city and y'all own community. Y'all reaching out to a Kansas-based company since last year. The year ain't even over yet. Since late last year, y'all have been paying a Kansas. Because remember, we're just now starting to uncover and figure out what the heck is going on with the migrant crisis. It's just now starting to hit the peak. It's just now starting to hit the radar. I've been killing this migrant crisis thing for a long time now. We just now really starting to have a conversation, right? 57 M's, 57 million since last year. Okay, let's continue.
The company, with a satellite office on the Northwest Side.
Hey, do that look like a $57 million since last year company from one person, from one source of business? Look. Does that look like that satellite office, right? They probably pay a good $400 a month for that satellite office. Does that look like a satellite office where people should be making? I'm just asking. Listen, I'm just asking a question. I do not have the answer to the question. I'm figuring it out just like you guys. And if I don't bring it back to the forefront of the congregation, who will?
Holds the contract to provide staffing for migrant shelters across Chicago. In an effort to follow how those dollars have been spent, NBC5 Investigates filed a Freedom of Information Act request asking for a year's worth of invoices. But this letter shows the city has denied our request as unduly burdensome.
I was not aware that you requesting information on behalf as a result of the Freedom of Information Act, that you can be denied additional invoices because it's unduly burdensome. I thought that you just had to go through the process, however long it took, in order to continue to get these paperwork out. You got to figure it out. I did not know that you had the ability to deny Freedom of Information Act requests because it's unduly burdensome to come up with the invoices that y'all sent over to the people. honestly, I'm just observing this just like y'all. Shout out to Chicago.
Noting there are 498 payment vouchers that require redactions, and that would take 124 hours of staff time, posing an immense burden. A burden so large, the city says,
it takes 120 something hours of staff time in order to produce 500 invoices and then redact the information that's not supposed to be in there. I'm just playing to you what's been played to me.
That it outweighs the public interest in the information. What's curious is that before this denial letter, the city already provided us with these two invoices, showing with overtime, a nurse at this High Ridge YMCA shelter earned $20,000 in a week.
I'm just sharing with you the information that's been shared with me. They provided two invoices. One nurse, for example, made over 20 bands working at the YMCA in 1 week at a rate ranging, based off of what I see right here, from $195 to $300 an hour, running up 12-hour shifts in 1 week. I'm sorry, let me just say this. A nurse charged your city 20 bands in a week. Invoiced 20 bands in one week. 1 week. 1 week. 1 week. 20 bands, one nurse, 1 week.
During that same week last December, a shelter manager made $14,000.
This requires a great deal of attention, a lot more transparency. The fact that news organizations are only given 1 or 2 invoices when they've requested thousands of them, to me, is unconscionable.
So here's my question. As we see this and as we go through this and as we have this conversation and crime is running rampant over in Chicago and people getting monkey pounded as they walk down the street in order to eat their pizza, and crime is, and all of you guys are out here protesting, and everybody is so focused on what everybody else is doing. And meanwhile, the staffing company has gotten over $57 million. This is just one person, or I'm sorry, one company since last year. Staffing company got over $57 million and growing since last year. And so no faces, no building, no administrators, no nothing, Kansas-based company. And they got over 57 million. Let me ask y'all this question, right? Why would anybody want to cut off this faucet? Why would anybody want to cut off the faucet? Why would you want to cut off a faucet like this? Listen, if we got to make sure that we use your tax dollars in order to bust them up here so that we can then bust down your tax dollars to the tune per person of 20 bands in 1 week, who would want to cut off that faucet? Let the water run. Take me to jail. Throw away the key. Why would anybody want to cut off the faucet for this? You know how many people is probably coming up on this? They had a projected $584 million budget deficit and growing for Chicago. Why would anybody want to cut off that faucet? How can we get more people in here? That's the question. How can we get more people in here? That's what I will be asking myself.
Alderman Brendan Riley represents the 42nd Ward. That includes the Inn of Chicago, a migrant shelter that now hosts more than 1,500 people. Riley is among a growing chorus of city leaders concerned about transparency with city spending.
The city council has a role in appropriating monies like this for programs like this, and the fact that we've all been left in the dark about the costs per hour for staff for these facilities, I think, is insane.
What we do know, with 498 payment vouchers totaling $57 million.
498 payment vouchers totaling $57 million, and this is just from one company since last year.
That works out to an average of $115,000 per invoice. When I asked Mayor Johnson last week about this perceived lack of transparency, he said this.
So let me just make sure that you're clear and everybody else is clear here. Every single Monday, there's a conversation with alders who are part of a working group. Every Friday, there's an email that is sent so all the alders could see it. We have released information providing the details of the fact that when we appropriated the first $51 million, I was the person that said that the vast majority of it went to staffing.
While
Do y'all see a problem here, or is it just me? Am I off? Am I off? Am I confused about something, or do y'all see a problem right here along with me? That is not an explanation. Who is getting rich? And where is the kickback money? Listen, if I'm making sure that you getting $57 million in payments, somebody got to be greasing a palm over here, homeboy. You over there in Kansas getting 57 million since last year, and we ain't even done with the year. Yeah, where my Christmas gift? I need something. I need a lot. I need Range Rovers. I need BMWs. I need a Swiss bank account. I need some. Somebody gonna be greasing my palm somewhere. So y'all not gonna just be over there making $57 million and we gonna be over here talking about migrant crisis and that's the end of the conversation. We not gonna be running this city into the ground by ourselves. No, I'm gonna need to get paid too. Where they at though? Where they at? Listen, if you gonna do something, you might as well go big. You might as well go big. If you gonna do something, then you might as well go all the way big. If y'all gonna bankrupt the city, bankrupt it gloriously. If you gonna run up a budget deficit of more than $500 million, let's run it up. Let's run it up. Where is the money? And why am I not getting any of it? And why do I not have a Swiss bank account somewhere? Now, I'm not saying that anybody is doing this. I'm saying that that's the question that I will be asking if I just so happen to be a part of the administration and is doing a person that's doing a transfer back and forth, and I keep seeing transfers going back and forth. I need to understand where the hell is the money going and why I ain't getting none of it, and how can I then become a part of the administration and become a part of this gold mine that we have. We have a walking gold mine of people walking across the border, and over there the staffing company and services. Do I need to start a company and then go over there and do it too? Do we need to pull up to Chicago and say that we want to make a bid? I just want to know, how can I participate in the growth and the success of the migrant crisis at the behest of the taxpayers? That's all I want to know.
Copies of two recent Alderman briefings obtained by NBC5 Investigates do reference upcoming contracts and migrants' needs. They do not show specific information on dollars spent.
I just want to know how I can do the same thing. We playing a wrong game. We over here working hard, working 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, putting in the hours, trying to make sure we feed our families. Y'all on the picket lines, protesting and striking, trying to get your 32 to 35 to 37, 30, yeah, 40, 50. And we over here, and they over here just busting down the 57M. 57Ms. 57Ms. Got my 57Ms. They's probably running it up. What the hell is going on out here? So you telling me migrants are the new assets? I'm going to follow the money. I'm going to keep bringing Chicago to the front of the congregation until we get some answers over here in these streets. Let me read a few super chats and then we're going to move over into the rest of the show because we got a full show, not a half a show, a full show. Justin K says, crazy you mentioning that. Just last weekend, I was at a birthday party with multiple black pilots and they were trying to convince me to be one. Justin is like the ultimate hustler. If y'all ever met Justin in real life, Justin leave no bags on the table. I wouldn't be surprised if he was flying a plane and building a house at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Objective Hustlers in the building says, little something for the collection plate. Mailed you my book last month. Shout out to the Objective Hustler and the book that he's rocking out with and mailing me the book. I appreciate you, big dog. Travel Roots is in the building says, have you heard about the government grocery store chains he's working on? Oh, my God. Now we public grocery store chains. Supply chain management. Not to mention this tent city he's building in the middle of the city, $160 million contract. Oh, my God. You telling me they get $160 million to be able to build some tents? No, Peaches. Justin is married. I've met his wife. Peaches said, I'm trying to come up. Peaches said, I'm trying to come up. Is Justin married or is Justin single? Peaches said, I'm trying to come up. Okay, Peaches, I see you. Shoot your shot then. Let's move over into the next story. We're going to move over from Vegas and we're going to move back over to Las Vegas. We're going to move over from Chicago and we're going to move back over to Vegas. From Chicago to Vegas. Now, last week I shared a story with you guys. Shout out to Terrell, LMAO. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. I appreciate you. Last week I shared a story with you guys. And the story was based off of the idea that two little monsters, and yes, they are monsters, two little monsters, this just so happened to be what they look like. Now, you guys keep telling me not to profile. You guys keep telling me, Anton, I know that you don't think that you should or shouldn't, and it's important for us to make sure that we give every single person the first right of refusal to whether or not they want to rob you before you substantiate whether or not they could or could not fit the profile of a criminal. I told you what they look like. This is my first time today when I seen this story pop up and y'all sent it to me in my email. You said, Anton, there's more information that you need to be a part of because you were right again. You profiled it to a T. Tattoos on the face? Check. Brown and black? Check. Listening to rap music? Check. Possible dreadlocks or a low buzz cut? Check. The only thing that I was possibly wrong about, because I can't substantiate it yet, is whether or not they had on black Air Force Ones, white socks, and jean shorts. That's the only thing I want to know. Did they have on black Air Force Ones, white socks, and jean shorts? That's all I want to know. If you tell me that and you can substantiate that that happened, I know that I should be an FBI profiler. Get me my recruitment letter over to the FBI. I can help you catch every criminal in the hood. I know what they look like. I know what they look like. Tattoos on the neck? Possibly. Possibly. Do they argue in black Air Force Ones? Yeah. Do they wear white socks, shorts, and jean shorts that come below the knee? Mm-hmm. Where do y'all be getting these jean shorts from is what I'm trying to figure out. How do y'all keep finding jean shorts? I haven't seen jean shorts in any store in a long time. And y'all be having creases in them. They be so creased up that you can literally set them on the ground and they can stand up on their own. Let me tell you what it is that they expected.
Two teens accused of murder after an alleged crime spree goes viral make their first appearance in adult court. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Denise Valdez.
And I'm Brian Loftus. 8 News Now investigator Vanessa Murphy was there. Has more on this case along with never before heard details.
Denise and Brian, I've learned Jesus Ayala, the accused driver, appeared to show no remorse when he was taken into custody, even referring to the hit and run and telling an officer he'll get a slap on the wrist since he's in the juvenile system. As we've reported, he has a lengthy criminal history there, but he's not in the juvenile system anymore.
Let's stop there. We want to make sure that we bring this back to the front of the congregation because there was so many people that was sitting there telling Anton, no, you shouldn't be profiling. They just kids. What if they throw their whole life away? Now somebody, former police chief, trying to get his exercise in, making sure that he got his blood sugar down so he can take them blue pills in order to go and do something at home at night because he trying to enjoy his retirement. He on his bicycle over in the desert in Vegas trying to just ride it out in Henderson, Las Vegas. And now you got somebody that's no longer with us because you decided that you wanted to give people an extra chance and you didn't want to profile effectively. Okay. Now look at what it is that we got to deal with. Lengthy criminal history. Not even old enough, not even old enough to buy cigarettes, but he old enough to get a tattoo on his face. Old enough to get a tattoo on his face, but not old enough to be profiled and then to be evaluated as to whether or not we should have this little homie around us in the first place, him and his friends. Look at this guy at the bottom of my screen real quick. This dude is sitting here with a lengthy criminal history, and he told the police officers, man, ain't nobody worried about homie that just got ran over, and I don't care about the fact that I just killed him. I'm going to just get a slap on the wrist anyway. I'm going to be out in 30 days. 30 days. 30 days, homie. Yeah, I dare you. Well, take me to jail. Throw away the key. 30 days. I'm a juvenile, homie. And it ain't nothing you can do about it because I know more about the criminal system than you do. This is your children.
Jesus Ayala appearing in adult court for the first time Thursday, facing 18 charges, including murder.
And then he got the nerve to be named Jesus. Y'all not going to finesse me, keep calling these people Jesus. You're not going to finesse me and keep calling each other Jesus. And then got the nerve to be called Jesus. I know what Jesus is spelled like. J-E-J-U-S. I may be a C student, but I know what the name of Jesus. Long as I got King Jesus. Long as I got King Jesus. I don't need nobody else. Put a 1 in the chat if you're familiar with that song. That may be before your time. Don't worry about it. I expect to see maybe 1, maybe 2 1s. I know what Jesus is spelled like. Not going to sit here and finesse me.
Let's find probable cause for your arrest in this case. His co-defendant, Jameer Keys, facing 3 charges, also including murder. The teens are accused of killing retired police chief Andy Probst, intentionally hitting him as he rode his bicycle in a designated bike lane. Ayala, the accused driver. Keys, the accused passenger who recorded this video. Metro Police.
There's a whole lot of people that know that song in the chat. Long as I got King Jesus. Long as I got King Jesus. I don't need nobody else. It's a lot of people that know who King Jesus is. Shout out to the people in the chat.
Say this was the 3rd hit and run during their crime spree on August 14th. They're accused of hitting another cyclist earlier that morning.
So they was just cyclists hitting. They went on a whole crime spree to cyclists hit. It's a lot of people that know King Jesus in the chat. Call him. Call his name. Call his name. See, if these people had knew King Jesus instead of naming their kid Jesus, maybe we wouldn't be sitting here with tattoos on their face, and maybe they would be civilized people in society. Keep on trying to remove the God off the money. Keep on trying to take God off the money. Call him. That's how they used to have us in church. That's why we were so scared to do something. We wouldn't dare think about going around hitting people, hitting runs. Call them. See, we was different. We had to tarry for the Holy Ghost. We had to get on the altar. We had to keep call. We didn't know if we was going to get the Holy Ghost or not. We just kept on. Jesus. Breaking out. Start shouting. No, you ain't got the Holy Ghost yet. God damn it. See, Anton, that's why you can't get the Holy Ghost, because you keep cussing. I thought I had it. Anton, stop cussing. Call on him. Open your mouth. Let the Lord have his way. Let the Lord have his way. Now, how am I supposed to call Jesus' name and open my mouth at the same time? Pause. Call him. Call him. Let him have his way. Kept on hitting me in my back. I'm trying to call Jesus' name. Jesus. Why you keep hitting me? Call him. Anybody that was raised in church, you know what I'm talking about. Anybody that was raised in church, you know what I'm talking about. Keep on walking up to me, praying for me, putting olive oil on my head. You're going to have to put some extra olive oil on that one. I said, I'm special. Mm-hmm. Sister Maybelline over there keep on saying, mm-hmm. Every time I cut, they take me up for prayer. Why y'all keep taking me up for prayer? I don't need no prayer. This one is taking a little bit longer to get the Holy Ghost. Make sure that he tarries on Saturday too. Oh, no, we supposed to play basketball on Saturday, and now I got to come in here and tarry in the church. Had me on stays. I'm sorry. They had me on stage. They said, oh, no, we going to fast for this one. Call them. As the Spirit of God give utterance, speaking in other tongues. I went home, started trying to learn other languages. What the hell is going on? I'm sorry. I got a little distracted. Let me get back to the show. I got a little bit distracted. Let me get back to the show. These demons is over here running people over. Let me rewind it a little bit. I'm going to let it play out.
The teens are accused of killing retired police chief Andy Probst, intentionally hitting him as he rode his bicycle in a designated bike lane. Ayala, the accused driver. Keys, the accused passenger who recorded this video. Metro Police say this was the third hit and run during their crime spree on August 14th. They're accused of hitting another cyclist earlier that morning, a 72-year-old man who survived.
They hit a 72-year-old man that survived. So they just running over old people. That's the goal for the day. To just run out there and run over old people. How does this work? How does this work? Lost Little One says, I don't need a church to praise God. You's a lie. You's a lie. You don't know what praise service look like. Listen, look. Before we get back to Jesus down here at the bottom, let me tell you something. You don't know what praising God look like until you get inside of that church. You don't know what praise service look like until they tell you, shout till you die. You don't know nothing about praise service. Listen, the one thing I'm not going to let y'all lie about is the fact that y'all be sitting there praising God in your own little sanctuary in your household. You was a lie. You ain't never praised God by yourself in your life. Don't nobody praise God by themselves in their little prayer closet and they ain't actually been to a praise service. You don't even know what praise look like. Let me get a praise in your spirit. You don't know nothing about it. You don't know nothing about it. You ain't never seen a praise service until Big Mama fell on your arms and it almost threw your hip out, and you 13 years old. You don't know nothing about praise service. Don't talk to me about praise service.
The 8 News Now investigators confirming all 3 hit and runs are on video. Police say the teens also stole 4 cars that day. Ayala, 17 at the time, now 18. Keys, 16 years old.
Do you believe these teens should remain in custody, and what do you think is an appropriate bail amount for each of them?
Determination of whether somebody should remain in custody is based upon whether they're a flight risk or danger to the community. Okay? I believe they're potentially both. They have certainly proved that they are dangerous.
Clark County District Attorney Steve Wolfson also explaining how his office will work to prosecute both teens for murder.
Well, under law in Nevada and most any other place, if you aid and abet, encourage, facilitate, or help in any way another person to commit a crime, you're equally guilty.
We've been digging for more details and just learned more about the video investigators say they found on Ayala's cell phone. A similar scene showing the teens laughing as the engine accelerated to hit the first cyclist who survived. We've learned one of them is heard saying bump him a few times. The teens are expected back in court on Tuesday. We'll be there. Back to you.
Look at these dudes. This is crazy. This is crazy. Yo, bump them a few times. What do you mean bump them a few times? Hit them, run them over, and then bump them a few more times? Oh, man. You got to even carry a pistol while you're riding your bike. You got to carry a pistol now riding your bike. This is sad, sad, sad. And they 18, 17, 16 years old. They got control of a 3,000-pound missile in the form of a car. and they're sitting here running over pedestrians and older people for sport. For sport. And they laughing and recording and giggling about it, and they went and got a tattoo on their face and grew their hair out before they did it. Crazy. Absolutely insane. Good grief. Well, let me read a couple of super chats and then we're going to move over. We got some more things that we got to cover. We got to get to the Monday. Terrell LMAO says Bag Chasers, Migrant Services. I'm with it. Now processing migrants same day. And we're going to do a better job than whoever it is that they did it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Terrell. I appreciate you. Nick T says, ASUS, correct the spelling. No Jesus in them. My girl Brittany B says, out of your belly. Jesus, let it from the rooter to the tutor. Shout out to my girl Brittany B. I appreciate you. Cassandra P in the building says, peeking at the altar, see who fell out. And then he peeking up back at you like this. Man, if you don't get your butt up, you know the spirit ain't hit you. As soon as you went out, whatever demon that they prayed out of you was just waiting outside for you and say, hey, you ready to go, dog? You know what I'm saying? Nick T says, I think his parents meant to name him Suspect. For real. Shout out to him. All right, so listen. Let's pivot for a minute. We're going to stay in Vegas. Because there's a lot of things that's going on in Vegas right now. There are a lot of things going on in Vegas right now, and I want to make sure that we address it all. Now, I would have you to know, because I've been waiting to see what's going on with this whole cyber attack and everything like that with MGM and all of that, right? But I would have you to know that Vegas is allegedly number one for foreclosures in the United States of America. Now, why is Anton throwing a clap on for Vegas for being number one in foreclosures? Well, I'm going to explain to you why. But before we get over into the foreclosures, I got to give you all the news of what's happening over in Vegas. So recently, right, I headed over to MGM Casino. Don't ask me why. I wasn't gambling. I was going over there to get some free food. Just so happened to be the weekend. I got in on Friday. On Saturday afternoon, I had my SS Impala down in Greektown. We wound up doing a photo shoot, and I said, I'm hungry. Why would I pay for food when I can go and get it for free? That's the truth. Why would I pay for food when I can go over to the casino and they going to give it to me for free? We going to get everything. We going to go over to D Prime. We going to get steaks. We going to get lobster tails. We going to get crab. We going to get sesame chicken. We going to get broccoli. We going to get asparagus, mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, and we just going to pig out. And we going to take it home, the rest of it home, and we going to eat it on Sunday too. Now, lo and behold, I didn't even plan on covering this. I had no interest in covering what the hell is happening in Vegas because I don't plan on being in Vegas until possibly December for the NBA in-season tournament, first inaugural season, right? I thought about going over there. But then I go to order my food over at the casino, over at MGM Grand over there in Detroit, where they supposed to treat me good. And I look at a sign and it says, no comps because of the cybersecurity thing or whatever the hell that it was talking about. I said, what? What you talking about, Willis? You telling me I can't use the kiosks? I can't do nothing over here? I can't even get no free food? I got like $300 in comps on my card, and I'm not even going to use my comps. I'm just going to get it comp from over at the host, and I can't do nothing? You telling me I got to pay for my food over here? Hell no. Lock me away. Throw away the key. I went and got my car, and I drove away foodless. I was disappointed. I said, you know what? At some point during this week, I'm going to cover what the hell is happening in Vegas. And when I seen it pop up, you guys sent me this article about the foreclosures over in Vegas. I said, I'm not going to miss an opportunity to throw this in there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, slots unusable, key cards inoperable. Just two of the many issues MGM Resorts faced in the past week due to a cyber attack. Also, personal information from its customers compromised, and people still cannot book online through MGM's website. Caesars also reportedly paid out millions to hackers. So the question is it safe to head to Vegas? What's the experience going to be like? Washington Post travel reporter Andrea Sachs is joining us now with more on the impact on tourists. Welcome, Andrea. It sounds like these cyber crooks hit pretty much every aspect of the organization here. Where do things stand right now at the MGM?
Well, they're slowly trying to come back online. So what had happened, from what we understand, is there was a cyber attack. I think it's safe to use that word now. And they tried to shut everything down to protect themselves. I compare it to kind of like an armadillo. So they're trying to protect themselves so that there's no more infiltration. When they did that, they really, they made us realize how much we need online services. So suddenly digital key cards weren't working, online check-in wasn't working, elevators weren't working. So that all shut down. But now, as they're getting a little more understanding of what had happened, they're slowly coming back online. For gamblers, that also meant, obviously, slot machines went dark. They weren't working. If you had winnings, you couldn't use the ticket to get your winnings. You had to go to the casino cashier. So everything became manual, or as one of my experts said, we went back to pen and paper.
Yeah. Let me pull something up. Let me see something. Hold on. I gotta pull this up. Hold on, give me a second. Give me you want. Give me you want. Before I come back to that, let me see something. You used to be able to go to mlife.com, right? Okay. Sign in. I just want to see something real quick. Hey, why I can't sign in? Sign in. Join now. Accounts are currently unavailable. So I can't even sign in. I literally can't even sign into the website to even see what my rewards are at all. That's pretty crazy. And I didn't even check this out before I jumped on the live stream. I just genuinely wanted to see what was happening. Let me see if I can sign in on the app real quick. And giving you want. Giving you want. See? MGM Rewards is undergoing maintenance and digital keys currently are unavailable. Please see the front desk for assistance. Yo, this has been happening for like 10 days. This is pretty crazy. This is pretty insane that this is happening to a major organization like this. But let me go ahead and fast forward
slots
a little bit. Coming back online. For gamblers, that also meant, obviously, slot machines went dark. They weren't working. If you had winnings, you couldn't use the ticket to get your winnings. You had to go to the casino cashier. So everything became manual, or as one of my experts said, we went back to pen and paper.
Now, one thing that I do want to emphasize to you guys is that I seen a post, and you know me, I'm always trying to understand how this comes back down to the money. I seen a post over there for MGM Grand, and it was all circulating on different forums and stuff like that because, you know, I stay keenly aware, hey, if anybody is, all of the moderators in the Discord and stuff like that, make sure y'all track this and then start to pay attention to what's going on from a job perspective, especially for my cybersecurity professionals, because allegedly they're offering somewhere like $200 an hour, maybe $200,000, $400,000 in order, you know, for individuals per individual in order to get their servers back up and build it from scratch from a cybersecurity perspective. And so this is one of the things that I keep telling people. A lot of times people hit me up and they say, Anton, would you rather go into software engineering if you had to do it all over again today? So meaning you are now a professional today. Would you go into cybersecurity or would you go into software engineering? And I say 10 times out of 10 cybersecurity. 10 times out of 10, one thing that you're never going to have to worry about as far as artificial intelligence, and I think that software engineering is going to be fine and all of that, right? But when I say the most in-demand, biggest bags potentially and all of that, I believe that cybersecurity is at the forefront of the movement, because as we continue to move into this digital age, there's going to be more or greater need for security, because we are now so interdependent on it. Companies are willing to spend an egregious amount for it in order to ensure that they're going to continue to protect their services, right? Think about it. You can't, when I go into a hotel, right? When I go into Marriott, when I go over to MGM, if I go to any hotel or whatever, 10 times out of 10, you are then using a key, a digital key from your phone in order to be able to open up the door. The slot machines themselves are all digital. The M-Life rewards, the comps, the online casinos, every single thing that we're doing, even all of these legacy companies, banks, auto manufacturers, anything that you can think of, they're now becoming digital companies. They're technology companies now. They're not manufacturers. And even though I do want to get into an article specifically about manufacturing, these companies are now specifically technology companies. They are not manufacturers. They do not physically service anything, and they've moved over into a digital profile in order to A, cut costs, and then B, keep up with technology. So I always tell people, if you're looking to get into, or you're trying to figure out what it is that you want to get into, go into cybersecurity. It is going to be the most lucrative profession that you can think of. But let me continue.
Yeah. So if somebody is going there in the next few
Cassandra.
weeks, months, holidays, what do they need to know? How do they need to prepare for what is going to be maybe a lingering effect here?
Well, I think they're trying to get online as quickly as possible, and you just obviously have to be patient and you have to be understanding what's going on. The bigger issue is that for people who have been a guest or maybe will be a guest in the future, we're giving over a lot of personal information for hotel reservation. That could be your credit card, your address, sometimes driver's license. High rollers, they have to give their social security number.
Wow.
So it's important to kind of lock down your gadgets and your.
And I thought that very soon I was going to get invited over into being into noir. That's invitation only. Actually, the highest that you can get is platinum, and then noir is like invitation only. I have not gotten into noir. I am a platinum member, but I have not gotten into noir. But apparently that's going to be put on hold, because I thought that I was going to get invited to get all of the perks that come along with it. But let's continue.
Information before you provide this to no matter what hotel or casino it is. So make sure you have two-factor authentication. Make sure that your passwords are not your dog's name. Make sure that your credit is locked and only unlock it if, say, you're getting a loan. So all these things that you can protect yourself in advance for an event like this.
Man, it's scary to think of.
You're never going to be able to protect yourself. Let me just bring y'all in. Like, they're giving you all of the ways that you should operate. Yes, you do want two-factor identification or authentication, right? Meaning that you don't just want to have to be able to put in a password. You also want them to be able to send you an email or send you a text message to validate that it's you, right? Two different ways in which you have to validate that you are who you are in order to get into your account, right? But you're not ever really going to be able to protect yourself. The only thing you're going to be able to do is get a bag from it. Just being real. Now, allegedly what's happening, because Las Vegas is really just a battle between two companies. That's it. Las Vegas is mainly a battle between two different companies. Obviously, you're going to see other people building up on the Strip. You got Resorts World over there, right? You got another place that's going up down on the Strip, past Bellagio, past Resorts World. They got the Las Vegas convention that's popping off, right? Vegas is just one big desert, but it's a battle for Vegas. Obviously, you've seen the Raiders move over into there, and they got so much stuff that's coming to Vegas that's going to be huge. But Vegas is really just a battle between Caesars and MGM. That's it. 15 different casinos that's in Vegas is MGM, and then the rest of them is Caesars. But ironically enough, this cybersecurity attack hit everything. I'm pretty sure it hit Macau, right? I'm pretty sure that it hit the Beau Rivage down in Biloxi, Mississippi, in which I really love going to Biloxi. That's one of my favorite places to visit. It's my hidden spot that I ain't got to worry about none of y'all showing up. You know what I'm saying? It certainly hit over here in Detroit, which is largely one of the most profitable company or the most profitable locations for MGM. But now that we understand this, Caesars took a completely different approach. When they got hit, and they got hit for held for ransom, Caesars allegedly paid over $15 million in order to get all of their stuff restored because they were more focused on, hey, we're going to build up all of our security afterwards. But more importantly, we got to make sure that we get everything restored. MGM says that we don't negotiate with terrorists and we'd rather leave our systems down for the next however long and inconvenience our guests rather than hit y'all off with this $15 million. So that's what's really happening.
About Social Security numbers that might be out there. What do we know, Andrea, about who is responsible for this and how close our police are on their trail?
I don't know. The FBI are being very FBI, where they're looking into it. And Nevada Casino, the gaming organization, also is being very tight-lipped, and they're looking into it, as is the governor. You also have to think, with MGM, they're all over the world. So this affected probably, Macau and Japan and Detroit, casinos all over the country. But we just see the greatest hit would be Vegas because they have about 14 casinos and resorts on the Strip. So they're being very tight-lipped. MGM hasn't really been too transparent. I know that people who have been there had no idea this was going on. I mean, they thought it was some kind of electricity issue. So slowly, hopefully, we'll know more, but we don't know that much at this point.
So that's basically what's happening over in Vegas. While y'all was over there partying, hackers was over there trying to secure the bag. But if you ever want to make sure that you continue to level up when it comes to the career path that you want to take, be very diligent in going into cybersecurity. It's a huge bag, and it's only going to go up even more as a result of it. But let me pivot for a second because I want to switch over to foreclosures. So it is now starting. There's a perfect storm, in my opinion, that's brewing across the market. And whether you are in Vegas or whether you are in Chicago, there's a perfect storm that is brewing. Right? And we're starting to see it. Usually what happens, even during the recession in 2007, 2008, the place that got hit first wasn't even Detroit, because Detroit was the recipient of a lot of layoffs. But when you started to see what was going on with the housing crisis, even when I flew out to Vegas in 2008, later on in 2008, 2009, the first place that really started to go under was Vegas. Think about it, right? One of the reasons why I do not invest in airlines or anything hospitality related, I will not invest in hotels as far as like a Marriott property or their stock. I won't invest in any publicly traded company related to airline stocks or whatever like that because they're so volatile. They're so volatile, meaning that the first thing that happens when people want to start cutting back or whenever they go through something or a recession or anything like that, the first thing that they cut out or the first thing that happens is leisure goes out the door. Don't matter whether it was the 9/11 attacks, the recession, the pandemic, when nobody could travel, complete cities shut down, tourism areas or anything related to tourism suffers the most. First thing out the door. All right, well, we're going to cut back. We're not going on a vacation. All right, well, I guess I got to cut that flight out. Oh, we need to tighten up our belts, whatever, so on and so forth. You're going to keep buying food. You're going to keep paying your mortgage. If you can, you may even try to keep your car. But the first thing that you cut out is tourism. And so if you really want to get a pulse on anything that's going on in any particular industry to understand exactly what's going on in your economy, you have to first look at where people are spending money or where they're not spending money. And now that this moratorium is now coming under attack, right? I had a conversation about what was going on in Atlanta. I had a conversation about what was going over in Phoenix, right? More than 12,000 people at one time is already under moratorium and they're getting evicted as we speak. But we're talking about a perfect storm. And when you talk about a perfect storm, you talk about multiple different factors, right? Property taxes is out of control. Interest rates, in order to try to tamp down inflation, because it's largely one of the only things that the federal government has at its disposal legally in order to ensure that inflation don't continue to go up. So you have to suffer pain, right? And they already have projected, and I've been talking about this for years now, that we were going to have some gnashing at the teeth, and there's some people that's going to have to suffer, but they wanted to put in that temporary control in order to make you feel comfortable and feel safe to then continue to keep the economy going and everything stimulated, right? And so the perfect storm is you got inflation at an all-time high. Still, they still trying to work on it and tamp it down. Interest rates are significantly higher than they were. Also, moratorium ends, so it's a lot of people that's going to be evicted. You're also competing against institutional investors that's trying to build as much housing as they can. You got the migrant crisis coming in, and they're going to continue to lower what it costs in order for you to continue to do business because they're going to be taking a lot of these jobs. Foreclosures are going to be going out of control, and people are reluctant to also sell their homes because if they sell their homes, then they're going to have to buy another home at a much higher interest rate, which does not even incentivize them to take the value out of their home. You don't even want to get a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, because the interest rate is going to be too high. You can't even extract the value out of your home in order to reinvest in something else because now you're going to be paying an egregious amount more for the interest rates in order to substantiate that loan or invest in something else. You're going to have to beat the rate that you have to pay in order to get that loan back. It's going to either have to be quick money or it's going to have to be no money. These flippers suffering. Hard money loans killing you. If you can't get these properties moved immediately and you don't understand the real estate market, you absolutely suffering. Wholesalers not getting no bag. People that are losing their homes, they just stand in it and they just losing it, hoping that they can keep and hold on to it and that for somebody that's going to come and save them because they can't really afford to move. Homelessness, out of control. Evictions, crazy. Everybody is going to suffer except for those that have. It's going to be a much wider gap, which is one of the reasons I've been telling you for years, all the time. Hey, listen. Lower your lifestyle. Move differently. Do this. I'm not telling you this so you can save your home. If you already in that position and you're running up the bag, you're not worried about losing your home, right? You already are in a position of power. I told y'all that so that y'all can be in a position to take advantage of when the perfect storm hit, because that's when the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. I'm not telling you to do it for survival reasons. I'm telling you to do it so that you can live in an abundance. Somebody is going to profit off of people suffering. The perfect storm is a perfect opportunity to widen the gap between those that have and those that don't. But let's get into the story.
Anyone who owned a home during the 2007 housing crisis remembers how scary it was back then, with so many families losing their homes to foreclosure.
And now housing analysts are starting to see a foreclosure uptick again. And unfortunately, Las Vegas is at the tip of that financial spear. News 3's Steve Wolford joins us live from downtown Las Vegas with a closer look at this concerning trend and what that means for homeowners across the valley.
Yeah, that's right, you guys. First, though, let's make an important note. The situation that we're seeing right now is not even close to what we saw during the Great Recession with the foreclosure crisis back then. That said, some new data from Atom Data does make you take notice, especially when you see where Las Vegas and Nevada land on their list.
There's definitely been an uptick in foreclosures in Las Vegas, pre-foreclosures specifically.
Veteran real estate broker Kristen Riffle says she's seeing it.
People aren't making their mortgage payments due to numerous factors, the economy, inflation, all the things you can imagine.
And according to AtomData.com, which analyzes real estate market data from around the U.S., about 1 in every 2,200 homes in Nevada is now in foreclosure, higher.
Surprise! Nevada and Illinois is at the top of the list. Surprise! And what happens when then homes go into foreclosure? What happens when homes go into foreclosure? That means the banks then profit off the equity that's then built into that home, especially considering that you've already been paying interest on that home. And then they resell it to people that then capitalize off of that home when they never had access into that market in particular in the first place. Remember when I did the report on Zillow last year and I was telling y'all how it is that they was absolutely suffering, or Trulia? Was it Zillow or Trulia? I think it was Zillow. Nevada, number 1. Illinois, right behind them. 1 out of every 2,200 people are getting foreclosed on, pre-foreclosure or foreclosed on, meaning that they're losing their home. Somebody in the chat asked the question. They said, Anton, what does it mean to be a homeowner in America? It means that you get to rent it from the city for an extended period of time as long as you pay your property taxes, and you also can pay your mortgage to make sure that you then jump into the gamification of credit in order to make sure that you make us richer over at the banks. That's what it means. It means that you can keep the economy the stimulus in the economy continues to run, because all of the home repairs require for you to continue to do maintenance on the home that then require you to continue to put other people to work. Plumbers, builders, carpenters, HVAC people, flooring, bathtubs, upgrades, buying new TVs, building man caves, drywalling, painters, roofers, property tax collectors, assessors, home inspectors, real estate agents. You basically keeping an entire economy rolling as long as you become what they want to call a quote unquote homeowner. And you still got to pay the property taxes for the rest of your life. And if you can't afford the property taxes, then we will make sure that they get paid for you, and you will lose your home that way.
Than any other state in the nation. And among metropolitan areas with more than 200,000 people, Las Vegas ranks fourth in the U.S. with just under 1 in 1,800 homes in foreclosure and number one among cities with more than 1 million people.
This is why economists always look at Las Vegas first, okay? It's always the lab rat for real estate market movement.
Yep. Because Las Vegas has no real economy built off of anything outside of tourism. The majority of people in Las Vegas are there and they're working there and they're depending on tourism in order for them to continue to run the bag up. Think about it. In New York, we got the financial markets. In Miami, you got tourism, but they're also trying to pivot over into the financial markets, especially as it relates to cryptocurrency, right? And they got weather on their side. If you go out to Los Angeles, they have a completely different way in which they operate because they're basically a tech hub, Silicon Valley, right? And then they also have, obviously, a immigration population that is continuing to pump money in there. And then they also have weather on top of it, right? Every single city is supposed to have some industry that is supposed to prop them up, but then they're supposed to be diversifying in order to not become interdependent on that in order for them to be survivals, right? Detroit learned that lesson when it came to the auto industry. They now pivoted. Quicken Loans, Rocket Mortgage, United Warehouse Mortgage. They are now the largest servicers of loans that are originated in the United States. And if you really understand how the game goes, that's one of the reasons that Detroit started to come back so fast and why it is one of the fastest growing cities that have less crime, especially in the major areas. Every city is going to have crime. But it's one of the fastest growing cities as far as productivity and growth and making money. We have two of the biggest companies in the entire United States right here in Metro Detroit that are originating the majority of the loans and running up the biggest bag when it comes to diversifying your economy and not being interdependent on the auto industry like we suffered through before. So now we don't have to worry as much about the strikes and there being a collapse if anything catastrophic happens. But Vegas is largely just a tourism sector. It can be beneficial, but it can also be very, very bad for you as a result of it. And so they're the ones that are going to suffer first and the most as a result if you start to see foreclosures or evictions across the board. It's going to happen in Vegas first because that's the first thing that people cut out whenever they need to make an adjustment.
Always the first one, so everybody's got their eyes on us to see what happens.
So how bad could it get? Well, probably not that bad at all because economists and real estate professionals saw this coming. We're coming off a prolonged period of time when mortgages weren't being paid because of moratoriums through the pandemic, especially in Las Vegas, where so many people lost their jobs when tourism crashed during the lockdown.
As soon as it was okay to foreclose, that process started for a large number of homes. I don't think it's a sign that we're in any kind of big trouble here in Southern Nevada. It's just an imbalance that has to get taken care of. But overall, the housing market, I don't think is going to be dramatically impacted by this.
That's because, according to economist Mike Pequeen, we still don't have enough inventory, even though more buyers are discouraged by high interest rates.
So basically what they're telling you is that there's still going to be haves and have-nots, and it's not going to be as bad because you're not going to see a lot of vacancies, because there's a lot of people that are going to take advantage of and snap up these homes, even though there's a lot of people in foreclosure. And it's going to continue to grow, which is going to be the divide between the haves and the have-nots that I keep warning you guys about. At some point, you're going to have to grow up. At some point, you're going to have to grow up. If you ever want to get to a different space in your life, or you ever want to become wealthy, or you ever want to become more successful, or you ever want to grow, it's going to have to come at the hands of making a sacrifice. And the sacrifice is You cannot keep trying to keep up with the Joneses. You have to prepare yourself for the opportunities, because success is when opportunity meets preparation. Shout out to Ms. Gatlin, my vice principal back at Cass Tech in high school. And so even though there's going to be a lot of foreclosures, there's going to be a perception that there's no recession, because we're going to be looking at the data overall and that, oh man, there are no vacancies and there's still home buying going on and so on and so forth. But in reality, the recession is based off of the idea that the middle class don't have enough money to be able to survive. Recession has nothing to do with vacancies. Recession has nothing to do with the housing market. Recession has nothing to do with evictions. Recession has nothing to do with repossessions. Recession has everything to do with your ability to continue to pour into a system that is set up to keep you poor by gamifying what life is supposed to be like for you, so that you can try to prove yourself to people that have no interest in seeing you successful. That is what a recession truly is. It's keeping you in a rat race, keeping you on a hamster wheel, keeping you doing things that's not in your best interest, selling you on the idea that you're supposed to subject yourself to something that's not best for you, continuing to have you sell out or sell a narrative over to other people of what you think home ownership is, and you have no clue whatsoever. And the biggest way for them to do it is to keep you distracted with things that you don't even really pay attention to, that has no value and is not going to have no inherent value in your life. And I'm sitting here talking to you about this right now. Got roughly over 2,000 people watching this, probably significantly more, because some of y'all is watching it with somebody else as a result of it. Y'all not just listening to this by yourself, y'all listening to it with all of your friends and your family. And you know what you're going to do? The same thing you did yesterday and the year before and the year before that. You know why? Because you just can't go without that Charger and that Challenger and that Hellcat. And them hoes, you got to pull up on them hoes. You know what I'm saying? And they got to see that little logo on the side of your car. You got to stunt on these hoes. Man, if I don't get a chain, I've been wanting a chain my whole life. It got to be iced out, bust down. And you can't make the sacrifice long enough to do the thing that's in your own best interest. Because you got to make sure that you're not living in your mama's basement, man. If I go and talk to this girl and I tell her I'm in my mama's basement, so you prepare your whole life. You spend an egregious amount of money just to get yourself prepared for a bunch of hoes that was going to pick and choose who they was going to bust it down to anyway. The biggest key to growing is at some point you got to truly not care what other people think about you, so you can do what's in your own best interest. You think them hoes is going anywhere? Let me tell you something. I'm 41 years old. From the time that I was 11 years old all the way up into 41. Over 30 years. You know what I've learned? Them hoes ain't going nowhere. They was still there at 11 and they here at 41. Same batch, different city, no new mindset, still willing to bust it down. Shout out to my DMs. Just a different way of being able to communicate it. The game is the game. It ain't changed. You ain't missing out on nothing. Stop chasing them. They ain't going nowhere. They gonna still be there. I promise you. There will be no shortage of women. You are not missing out on anything but the devil in your own best interest. I promise you. It ain't going nowhere. As a 41-year-old man, more get thrown than ever before, and I'm married as hell. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. I promise you, ain't going nowhere. Let me read a couple super chats and I'm going to get y'all up out of there. Sub says, Anton, what do you think about the massive movement of people with higher incomes out of these cities and companies buying all these homes to rent? It depends on what you consider a massive income, right? Or higher income. because I think that there's people getting into the game, but it's people that don't really understand real estate. They don't understand, because real estate is a very, very, very profitable but very dangerous game. It's a very dangerous game. It's a lot of highs. It's a lot of lows. It's a lot of people that's interdependent on that cash flow in order to maintain a lifestyle. You get more property. You then become more susceptible. You have a lower risk tolerance. Bigger impacts can mean bigger results. So it depends on who it is that you are and what it is that you're into. So I think that it's a good place to park money, but I'm not necessarily looking to make money. And it also depends on your real estate strategy. Shout out to you, Sub-Zero. I appreciate you. Shin C says, ha. Ha. Shout out to Shin C. Listen, greatest morning show on earth. I told y'all that we was going to be cooking this week. Brock says, pass a love offering. Phenomenal show as always. Greatly informative. You have no idea how much I appreciate you personally. For real, for real. Thank you. I appreciate you, Brock. I appreciate you. Thank you, my friend. We cooking up today. We cooking up all week. Cooking up all year. We've been doing this forever, and we're going to continue to do it until I get my 30 million. We're going to continue to do it until I get my 30 million. You have never seen a show that is more informative, more entertaining, and then more importantly, more consistent to make sure that y'all get through y'all day. I need y'all to do me one more favor before we get up out of here, ladies and gentlemen, and shout out to all of my people on every single platform that's watching this. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to holler at you tomorrow. Same time. Peace. Let me give an acknowledgement to Queen V in the building. Queen V says, thank you, Anton, for the free game for the culture. I'm about to give my husband monthly fees to join your millionaire club. You are brilliant, true prophet, walking. Thank you, my love. Make sure y'all tap into the bag chasers. We love y'all. Thank you, Queen V, and congratulations to everybody that rock out with us. You guys are the greatest audience on earth.